Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, it's Margo. This is Sunday morning, September 11th, 2016. And yes, it is 9/11. Here we are. I'm going to read a couple of more chapters or messages from my book, Ascension, Timeline Shifts and Consciousness, Channeled Messages from Brother Juan and the Great One. This is part 7 of this series. If anyone is listening live and would like to call in and ask any questions, the call-in number is 845-262-0773. And we're going to be talking about Ascension and best ways to prepare for it. And I'm going to read these two messages. They're not very long today, and they're both from Brother Juan, and talking about what to expect. And more about the portals and stuff like that. And then I'm going to talk about what's been going on and how people can best prepare spiritually for all this stuff, because it's not going to it's not going to happen without your part. You've got to do your work too. You've got to do your part. Everybody has to do their part too. So it's all important, and so here we go. This is message from Brother Juan, who was one of my inner teachers. I first met him in 2005, and then these specific messages on Ascension came through in about a 9-month period from Brother Juan and the Great One, which is what I call the soul of the earth, in a 9-month period between 2008 and 2009. And at that point, we thought we were going to be getting out of here, ascending and all of that. Brother Juan was saying 2011 and 2012 at the very latest with the end of the Mayan calendar. And then that didn't happen because we got source coded by the bad guys. They hijacked our timelines in order to have more time to put their evil plans in place and to imprison us and to capture our souls. And that's the bottom line. They're trying to capture our souls, and it's a satanic mind, a dark mind controlling all of this. And so we're running out of time now. We're running out of time. And, listen to my previous talks on this. This is part 7. Like I said, I'm reading the book to everyone, so you don't have to buy the book. If you want to buy it, it's on Amazon. You can just go to Amazon and type in Margo, Margo, and Ascension, and Ascension, and it'll pop up. It's an ebook, and also my website is margoshealingcorner.com. I am a hypnotist, holistic life coach, and spiritual healer. My big work that I'm doing right now is removing implants from people and energetic blockages and getting them reconnected with their divine, reconnected with God and Jesus and the angels. And I work directly with God, directly with Jesus, directly with the angels. I'm not a shaman. I don't recommend shamans. I don't use drugs. I don't use props. I don't use pendulums. I don't use anything. It's all directly through them, and I teach you how you can do your own work too. And in the sessions, I give a lot of instruction on how to meditate, how to quiet your mind. I use hypnosis as a background for this because it's a really good way to help people, to guide them into their deeper awareness. But then once they learn the techniques, it's up to them to run with it. And I can't do it for you. You have to do your own work is what I'm talking about. Okay, time is short, folks, so listen up, buckle your seatbelts. This first message I'm reading you today is from Brother Juan, and it was channeled on January 24th, 2009. So don't pay attention to when he says in May or in June or however many months. You know, that was back in 2009. The timelines have been hijacked, but I'm thinking if we're not in the final timeline, we're getting real close. But the messages are pertinent today. They're pertinent right now, and in the spirit realm, there is no time. So it doesn't matter when the messages came in, it's what the message is. All right, here we go. My students, we have now entered into the final timeline. It is dense, and the collective mind is full of anger. It is being fed from a very dark place from another D. They have tapped into it. They have opened a portal and have a continuous pipeline from the other D with the dark ones. When the battle begins, they will open the gateways to usher in all the demonic entities. These will be beings that come through. They have mastered these techniques. The Dark Masters have instructed them in a very clever way on how to do this. The Great One was correct in saying that the blood anchors the ones here in order to create and birth the horrible things that are coming. I know ones do not want to hear this. The majority of the population cannot stand the truth. They have been so brainwashed, so manipulated by the dark ones. Good is bad and bad is good. You must be very careful now, my students, as you go out into the world, as you interact with others. You do not know who is being manipulated by the dark ones. Anyone who is not awake now can be taken over in the blink of an eye. The dark eyes know how to use the body of anyone who is not awake. Their shields are down and their frequencies are different. The ones who are awake have a different frequency and cannot be penetrated. Therefore, you, my students, cannot be used. Your frequency is different. They cannot tap into it. They cannot penetrate your shields because you are of a different frequency than what they can use. By having done your meditations and your spiritual work, your physical bodies are of a different frequency and cannot be taken down over by the dark ones. Your minds cannot be taken over by the dark ones, but you will see and observe. This is one reason you are seeing everything that you are seeing now and you are understanding. You are of a different frequency and you see things in a different way. You understand things in a different way. Your minds are working differently. You are tapped into a higher knowledge. This is how you are able to see and recognize the cell phone towers, even the ones that are masked as pine trees. This is how you can see and understand other people's actions. You know the games. You know to be wary of anything that is out of the ordinary. You know how to read the signs. You have done your work, and you are ready to observe in this final timeline. You will continue to hold the energy, hold the light, and hold the portals open for the Great One. As the Great One enters into this battle, we go with her. We enter into the battle as well. If ones have not awakened by now, it is too dense for them to wake up. They will be manipulated. It is sad, but it is the way it is. Be kind to all that you can. Be gentle in the face of evil. Do not feed it with evil energy back. This will diffuse it somewhat. Time is up for everyone. You have done all that you can do. We will make sure that no harm comes to you. All the ones who are awake are protected. It is critical that you continue doing your meditations. We will be instructing you in how to handle things until the end. I am here for you anytime. The battle has begun. And that was the end of that message. I'm going to comment on that after I read the second one. And this is the second one I'm going to read today. This is also from Brother Juan, and is channeled January 30th, 2009. And the beginning of this session is from someone else. It's actually from my twin soul, who I was in contact with a lot at that point. He's on 5D now, waiting for me. I met him. I'll have to talk about that one of these days. I met him in 2005, and he started coming to me in my dreams. And then the trees helped connect me with him and made conscious connection with him. And he was from a future timeline, and then he got moved into 5D. Anyway, the first part of this message is from him, and he says, as you see from everything around you, that you are in the final timeline. Everything is falling apart. The whole system will implode upon itself. As this happens, the humans with souls will find their own strength. And that's who we are. We're finding our own strength. The ones who have not been brainwashed too much and have not sold out to the system. As the frequencies rise, the dark ones will be unable to hold the form of the human physical body in the holographic image. The humans with soul's vibrations are rising along with the Earth's frequencies as they are speeding up. The hybrids will keep cloaking in a lower frequency, but they cannot cloak in the higher frequency. What happens is, as you leave the lower frequency, you are able to see the truth from the higher frequency. You are shifting and moving. Your perceptions are changed as you move into the higher frequencies. People will not know how you know things, but you just know them. You are beginning to see through to the truth of all situations. You are seeing and understanding all the manipulations in 3D, all the games and power struggles. You can either get caught up in the power struggles, or you can just rise and observe. You understand and see why things are the way they are. And I say, yes, I know. Some days I'm okay with observing, and other days I'm freaking out because of what I'm seeing. And he says, I know. Brother Juan has instructed you to stay calm. You will be cared for. All of the humans with souls who are awakening or are awakened will be cared for. You don't have to worry. but it's hard. It's hard when they are telling you otherwise. As everything is falling apart around you, you are cared for. Situations will present themselves. People will come along. They see your light and want to be near it. They will help care for you in their own way. You do not have to fear. And I say, we're feeling pretty crazy. We're starting to experience the dream state some. And he says, yes, I know. I've been watching. It will happen more and more. And now the rest of this message is from Brother Juan. He says, my students, you are seeing evidence of this being a very violent and brutal timeline. You are in the final timeline. You will be cared for. All the humans with souls who are awakened or are awakening will be cared for. As your frequencies shift and change with the soul of the earth, your perceptions shift and change as well. You will see things differently from moment to moment. Situations will change. Circumstances will change. It will be from moment to moment. As your focus on 3D changes, as the reality of 3D changes, the whole meaning of it changes. What used to be important is no longer important. What used to give you comfort no longer gives you comfort. Comfort only comes from knowing, and knowing that you are cared for as a result of the work you have done and are doing. We are with you. Your collective is with you. Your collective's collective is with you. We will let no harm come to you. I mean not only you, but all the humans with souls who are awakened or are awakening and have not sold out. Great help is here for you now. You are entering into the darkest hour of the timeline before you will be beamed out. This is when you must have your greatest faith. In addition to entering the darkest time, your enlightenment will be the greatest. The harder things get, the more you will know and the more you will understand. As I said, we will let no harm come to you. There will be no more timeline shifts. This is the last one. And I say, Brother Juan, we are wondering if we are still on time for the beam out. And he says, my student, even if I knew, which I don't know, when the shift will happen for each of you, I could not tell you, for then the dark ones would know, and they would try to block it. I'm telling you, you're in such a very violent timeline. You do not see it on the surface, but it will manifest more and more as things progress. You are here to witness. Rest assured that you will be beamed out. You will go through the portal, or whatever you want to call it, before the grid goes up and before the total prison takes place. You still have much work to do. Ones who are awakening still have a chance. Ones who are open and questioning still have a chance. You have much work to do. If CERN does not go online in June, then your beam out time could be postponed. It is all depending on CERN. They will open the dark portal once CERN becomes fully operational. We will have you out before then. Then the soul of the earth will take care of the rest. She is preparing for the great battle. We will watch and support her and help her all we can. You will still be observing, but you will not be in it. You must be strong. And that was the end of that message. And I notice I have a caller on the line, live caller from area code 443. If you would like to ask a question and go live on the air, you can press 1, and we can go live. We have a few minutes left. If not, if you're just listening, that's okay. Okay, so you do have a question, so I'm bringing you live on the air. Hello, caller from area code 443. This is Margo. How are you today?
Good. This is Kathy. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for calling in, Kathy. What's going on?
Let's see. What can I ask you about? So you were talking about Ascension.
Mhm.
Can you tell me about my spiritual journey?
I'm not a reader. I work with people with their energy to help them open blockages or remove things that are keeping them from attaining their highest goals and their divine mission, stuff like that. What I'm doing.
Can you see any? Can you see any blockages?
Well, most people have blockages. I mean, if you're here in 3D, most people do have blockages. I really have to go into a trance state in order to see the blockages. It's not just something that just, the show is not really about that. I'm reading messages from a book that I got in, channeled messages that I got in. If you have questions about, what the Ascension process is like, what to expect, things like that,
okay,
we can talk about that.
All right. Why don't you tell me about that? What it's like?
This is part 7. So, if you want to re-listen to the past parts that are archived, it talks about it. But we have to be aware that the big message right now is we have to be aware that the dark side is trying to fool people and trying to get them trapped in this electronic prison. And with the cell phone towers and with Wi-Fi and with smart meters and mind control and things like that. And so in order to not be mind controlled and in order to be wanting to unplug from all of that, you want your body as pure as possible, you want your mind as clear as possible, and you want to meditate. And if you're able to meditate and get your body as pure as possible, then you can, tune into your own guides and your own information and on board, for the shift that is happening, and it's happening now because the frequencies are getting faster and faster and faster. And I don't know if you've noticed, but, things are moving around in the timelines. Have you noticed that? Are you aware of that?
No, I don't think I've noticed that. Can you give me an example?
Well, like things might be just disappearing out of your world, I have things move around in my house, and it's not poltergeist or anything like that. It's people talk about it as the Mandela effect, like history has changed. It's because we move. When our consciousness moves, we move into other realities. And as our consciousness rises, and it is moving into these other dimensions and other realities, and as it does this, it shifts our world, our perception. Because our minds are all about energy and how we perceive the world, because we are energetic beings. And as we shift our energy, our world and our perception of the world will shift. And, a lot of people are noticing this and noticing like their environments will shift in front of them, and things will have changed. Like, for instance, one time, I talk about this in a show I was on. I was just doing shopping one time, and I was it's a very popular store where I live, and I was in the middle of doing shopping, and I turned around and went back, and my shopping cart was gone. And what was in place was someone else's cart with all this junk food in it that I don't eat. And there was no one else in the aisle. No one had come along. I was the only one in the aisle, and it was, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, I was turned around getting my pumpkin seeds, and I turned back, and I couldn't find my shopping cart. And I mean, that's
goodness.
one example of a timeline shift. And they can be dramatic. And when this happens, it rocks your world. And I felt dizzy, and because it rocks your world, because all of a sudden it's like your what you're logged into. I'm not thinking of the word right now, but where you log into for your reality is gone. Like your anchor is gone. Where you're logging in. And so this is real important that you get used to looking at things and flowing, and because our energy is flowing, we're moving, we're changing, we're shifting, and as these timelines speed up and the shifts speed up, it's going to happen faster and faster and faster. And so
well, I do notice the months go by faster and faster now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, well, that's part of it. And days go by faster, your hours, your time will go by faster, everything will go by faster. That's part of this shift. So the more you can adjust with whatever changes come up, and there will be lots of changes, as long as you can just flow with them and not be stuck and don't be freaked out by whatever you see. And I see stuff happens with me like on a second-by-second basis. Like this happened like last week. I was getting ready to take my shower, and I looked on my arm, and I saw these 3 bruises on my bicep that I didn't wake up with. And I'm like, where did those come from? And so, I'm taking my clothes off and getting ready to get in the shower, and then I'm getting in the shower, and I look back, and the bruises are gone.
Wow.
And that was just in seconds. It's like, what is that about? So that's how fast the consciousness can be changing, and you lose your relative point, your 0 point where you're locked into this reality. You lose that. And are you familiar with the Philadelphia experiment?
No.
Where the guy, that would be an interesting movie for you to watch. And there was an old one and then a retake. But it's based on things that really happened. The Navy was doing experiments with
timeline?
Cloaking. Are you there? They were doing experiments with cloaking a ship. And this was back in I can't remember. It was World War II. Yeah, I think it was World War II. They were doing experiments with the cloaking, and they put the ship. It was a Navy ship. They put it in this energetic field, and it actually projected the ship in through. They created a tear in the timeline. And in reality, and transported the ship into like 20 years ahead, and it actually manifested in the harbor, in whatever harbor it was, I can't remember all the details, in 1962, and it manifested there, and then it beamed back into 1942 or whenever it was, and when it came back, like the guys had like been moving back and forth through this time portal, and their bodies didn't come back in the right way, and some of them actually manifested they were like in the ship, like their bodies were sticking up out of the bottom of the ship and stuff, and it was awful. It was awful. And they came back with radiation burns, and most of them died like within a few months after this experiment. But some of them, like Al Bielek was part of that experiment, and they have this, they even back then had this high-tech technology that was from the ETs that could actually take his soul. They took his soul out of his body and put it into like a little 6-year-old boy, like a walk-in, so that he could keep on. And then he died like in the last couple of years. But I met him at one of the UFO conferences I went to, and I picked up this really weird energy off of him. But he talks all about that experiment. But check out the Philadelphia experiment, and
I will,
talks about I think your eyes will be open, and this is all true stuff. And the movie is based on true stuff and experiments that were done with timelines, and this was just the beginning. And then the Montauk Project picked up from that, and they actually used in the Montauk Project, they actually used the stuff from the Philadelphia experiment and used it in the Montauk Project that continued with opening portals and going back and forth in time and stuff like that. And this is all true stuff, and it sounds like this would really be interesting to you. So check those out, and I'll edit the description here because on this show so that people will find some links on this stuff, because this is important stuff. And once you start opening up your mind and opening up your belief system, then your energies will start shifting. And this is exactly the message today from Brother Juan, where he says, as you open up your mind and, open up the possibilities, then your frequencies will change, and you start seeing things from a higher perspective, and you start understanding things on a much different perspective, and you're able to understand in ways that you weren't able to understand. And it's just like when you read the Bible, like the first time you read the Bible, it's like, or, a certain passage or something, it's like, well, I don't really understand that, or it's almost like a coded message. And then you might wait, a few months or a year or two, and you go back and read the same passage or the same chapter, and it's like you didn't read it. It's like you have this whole new understanding, and it's like you understand it on a deeper level. And the reason is because you have changed, because of your experiences, and your mind has changed, and your belief systems have changed, and you're more open, and so you're understanding on a deeper level. And that's how all of this works. It's all like a big code and a big matrix that we're trying to figure out. And so the more you release your old beliefs and your old patterns of the way you used to think, and be open to the new ways, and you can ask for this to be opened up in you, and ask for God to help you with this, and Jesus and the angels, and they will. They'll help you open your mind in ways that will guide you to your highest good and guide you to the information that you need. And it's really fascinating. It's fascinating to see how this works. But we're living in very exciting times, Kathy. It's very exciting, and we're all here for a reason, and we're all here to help each other. We all have a different part of the puzzle. But check out the Philadelphia experiment. If you can find the original one, it's in black and white, and then there's a remake of it, and both of them are good. And I've watched both of them, and they're super good. And, of course, they dramatize it and put in stuff that's not exactly the way it really was at the time. So you have to read between the lines and discern with it. But it'll blow your mind. And then Preston Nichols is he was part of the Montauk project, and he talks a lot about this. And he's got a book out called Montauk Project. And if you can get that book, he talks about all of that too. But that's available, and he's still around. He's still alive, and he was actually working as a radar technician at Montauk. And he didn't realize that he was part of the project too until he was like working on the dish, and his mind control started breaking down. He started like having flashes of things, and then he was guided to go into the basement there, and everybody knew him there, but he didn't know he had this office down there. He was living like another secret life down there, and he was in charge of the project. And he didn't even know. It's crazy, but that's what they can do. And they can block out, and do all this mind control. So if you're interested in that, I would check out that stuff. Anyway, do you have any other questions?
No, that's it. Sounds very interesting, though. Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of opened you up and blew your mind a little bit there. So
yeah, you did. You did.
Yay. Well, I guess you needed it. Anyway, check out my website, margoshealingcorner.com. I talk on my YouTube channel is Margo's Healing Corner. I've got a lot of instructional videos. If you're interested in finding out about implants and blockages, I have videos on there. I do work with people and get them unblocked. So if you're interested in doing some work, just contacting me through my website and just say, hey, I'm Kathy that you talked to, and I'd be happy to, move forward with you on that.
Well, great. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, thanks for calling in and thanks for listening, and you just have a wonderful day, and, stay cloaked up and shields up and, fasten your seatbelt. You're in for a ride. Okay. Well, you have a great day, and God bless.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that was our show for today, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. We talked a little bit about what I was going to talk about, with Brother Juan, but, he's saying that the government is like what's going to happen with these hybrids, and I'm thinking about the chimeras and the hybrids because they're really hybridizing now people and animals, and it's all becoming legal. It's going to be awful. It's going to be awful, and this just like in the days of Noah, and back in Atlantis times they were doing this too. So this is dark stuff that's happening. And so people, let's wake up. And the way to do it, you have to do your own work. You can definitely get unblocked and get hooked up, with God and Jesus and the angels and the Great One. But, I can only do so much. I can do my part to help you release your blocks and give you techniques to go within. And then, it's up to each person to do their own work. And this is critical. And what I mean by doing your own work, I mean spending some quiet time, whether it's a walking meditation, a moving meditation, or laying in the bathtub and closing your eyes, or however you do it, you have to every single day, at least 10 minutes of quiet, reflective time where you're unplugged from everything and away from everyone. And I don't care how much your mind is racing or whatever, you have to start doing this and start training your mind and getting your body cleaned up. Stop smoking, stop drinking, get off of your drugs. If you can get off of prescription medications, do it. I recommend it under the advice, working with your doctors, but a lot of prescription meds are blocking people too and keeping them confused. So And get off of meat. That's another thing. Meat is another bad thing. It'll definitely lower your vibrations. So a plant-based diet. Get off of your toxins. Get off of fluoridated water. And these things, and start detoxing your liver and your colon. These things will help you more than anything, because your body is the temple, and your body, you have to use your body, your mind, your brain to go within to get to these higher realms. So that's my show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in. And like I was telling everybody, my website is margoshealingcorner.com. And my YouTube channel is margoshealingcorner.com. So stay tuned, and God bless. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.